I'd like to thank you for attending this meeting. My name is Tom Mann. I'm the board president of Illinois Electric Cooperative. Since COVID-19 doesn't allow us to have an annual meeting, we think it's more important now than ever to keep you informed as our members. In the 84-year existence of this cooperative, this will be the first virtual meeting. Over the last 20 years, we think one of the most important things we've done is to have our member meetings that we invite people to go over what the co-op does on a day-to-day basis. We only got to have one this spring. We had it in Calhoun and had to cancel the remainder of them. We have no idea what the fall's going to bring, but we'll let you know if we get to continue them. I'd like to give a very special thank you to Brandon Moore, our communications director, for all the time and energy he's put in to make this possible. Another big change this year for Illinois Electric is our new manager, Randy Long. Randy's worked for us since, I think, 1981. If you do the math, that's over 40 years. Randy, I think, one time told me he started at 12. Among other things, he was our Murrayville service man for over 20 years. And since 2007, he's been our operations manager. Our former manager, Bruce Giffen, who we were very fortunate to have run this place for over 20 years, says Randy's been running this co-op for the last 4 or 5. During this time, Bruce didn't want this co-op to miss a beat when he retired. And I thought Randy was the guy the man to do the job. But members of our board thought we should do a search, and I think they were correct. So we did a search. We interviewed 6 people from as far as the East Coast to almost the West Coast. And Randy stood head above everybody else. And the board was more than delighted to hire Randy. Starting out as a new GM would be hard enough, but Randy's had to go through this pandemic as well. Randy's done a fine job, and we are blessed to have him as our co-op manager. And we're also blessed to have so many good employees that serve you, our members. Now I'd like to introduce Amy Jackson, our cooperative attorney, to go over some details regarding next year's annual meeting. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend this meeting.
It is my pleasure to address the members of Illinois Electric Cooperative. Although we would all much rather be talking to you in person at the annual meeting, the unusual and unexpected circumstances with the coronavirus pandemic have made a face-to-face meeting impossible at this time. As General Counsel for Illinois Electric, I was asked by the board to provide guidance regarding the legal ramifications of not having the annual meeting and of not conducting director elections this year. The board and management believe it is important for you to know the substance of my opinions on this matter, and that is what I will be briefly speaking about today. Illinois Electric Cooperative is a not-for-profit corporation. As such, the cooperative must comply with the Illinois Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. In addition to this law, the cooperative is also bound, as you all know, by its own cooperative bylaws. While both the Not-for-Profit Corporations Act and the bylaws contemplate and direct that an annual meeting of the members who are entitled to vote be held, the inability of the cooperative to hold an annual meeting does not result in a dissolution of the corporation and does not invalidate or otherwise call into question any of the business or other corporate acts of the cooperative. In short, it does not impede the ability of the board and of management to continue the day-to-day operations that are necessary to maintain the financial stability of the cooperative and to maintain the good, reliable service to which you have become accustomed. Furthermore, the inability of the cooperative to hold an annual meeting, which in this case is caused by the pandemic, does not result in the loss of position for those directors whose terms have otherwise technically expired. Instead, pursuant to both the Not-for-Profit Corporations Act and the cooperative's own bylaws, these directors, whose seats are up for election in 2020, will continue to serve uninterrupted until such time as elections can take place and a successor director is elected and seated. We anticipate this will be in 2021. Fortunately, the cooperative has no contested director elections this year. Accordingly, the plan, which is consistent with applicable law and bylaw, is to simply allow the directors to continue serving uninterrupted on the board. Elections will be conducted in 2021, and these directors will, at that time, be eligible for nomination to fulfill the unexpired term, which in 2021 will be a 2-year term. While the law does permit members an opportunity to make a written request to the president of the board for an annual meeting, this opportunity is available only after a specified portion of time has passed and would likely only be necessary if the members were concerned that the cooperative was not going to make plans for an annual meeting in 2021. I can assure you that barring any unforeseen circumstances, plans will be made as usual to conduct an annual meeting in 2021. The members of the board of directors whom you have elected and the management of the cooperative take their responsibilities to you very seriously. The decision to cancel the 2020 annual meeting was not made without significant deliberation and regret. Rescheduling the meeting to a later date in the year was considered. However, with our future ability to safely gather in larger groups still very much uncertain, this too was not a desirable solution. Ultimately, the health and safety of you, the members, and of the cooperative staff was felt to be too important to put at risk, and it was decided that the most reasonable and responsible decision was to cancel the annual meeting. You can be assured that although life as we know it is no longer as usual, the business of the cooperative will continue as usual, with the intention of making life better for the communities and members it serves. I, for one, look forward with great anticipation to seeing you all in person next summer. Until then, I wish you good health and a safe summer.
Thank you for coming online to view our video. Every year at our annual meeting, we report to you the financial status of the cooperative. With the cancellation of the meeting, we thought it important to give you that report during this informational meeting. First, let me say that the audit of our financial results resulted in a clean opinion from our auditors. We've come to expect that, but it's no easy task. I have to give credit to our manager of finance, Seth Bushnell, for his dedication and hard work to make this happen. I encourage you to go to our website where you can view the full report. In general, our financial statement looks respectable. Equity has increased modestly as total assets increased by about $7 million. This is largely the result of our investments in the electric system. Along with the investment comes debt, although it has grown at a slower pace of about $4 million. Managing that debt is essential. As one of the few Illinois electric cooperatives that continue to borrow from the federal government, we are able to keep our blended interest rates much lower than most. Continued investments in the electric system are necessary to provide you with safe and reliable service. This is difficult to do while the cooperative is seeing virtually no growth. The investments we make generate no additional revenue, but they do improve the quality of our service. Outage time has dropped significantly over the past 12 years. We are dedicated to providing you with the best possible service while working hard to manage expenses. To hold down costs, we competitively bid just about everything, from contract labor to trucks and equipment, as well as materials that our crews use every day. Looking at the operating statement, you will see our net margins were up about $900,000 from the previous year. Margins are used in two ways. They are either invested back into the system to improve your service or paid to the membership. In 2019, we were able to retire $1 million worth of capital credits for current and former members. Over the last 5 years, we have retired a similar amount each year and plan to continue that pattern as long as financially feasible. In closing, I'd like to thank you for joining us today and look forward to seeing you next year at our annual meeting.
Hi, welcome to Calhoun County and the informational meeting that we're having instead of an annual meeting this year. I'm Julia Eberlin. I'm the second longest tenured person on the board. That makes me one of the old people. And I am the chairman of the tech committee. And Brandon is behind the camera today, and I'm going to refer to him. He's going to show you a couple pictures at different points. Today, Randy asked me to talk about Calhoun Fiber. And it's something that I'm really excited about and very passionate about. If the last few weeks have shown us nothing else, it showed us how important it is to have fiber for not only our school kids, but also for people with their jobs and for all of us for telehealth. I'm going to have a little theme this morning, and I guess I should have said where we are. We're west of Brussels in the very southernmost part. Well, not the most southern part of the Calhoun County, but the southernmost part of the territory. It's 54 miles here to Winchester, to the office, and you can still go south another 6 miles. So it's quite a span that our co-op territory covers. But back to my theme, it's going to be so close and yet so far, and at a couple points, Brandon's going to show you some pictures, and I'm going to illustrate that. You may have the question this morning, why do we not do fiber, or why do we want to do fiber and not wireless in Calhoun? Because we have wireless throughout most of our territory. And Brandon's going to show you a picture, and it's actually right behind him and right in front of me. The West Brussels wireless tower is about a mile from where I'm sitting today. But in between here and there is a woods that keeps me from being able to access the tower. And while the territory here looks fairly flat, Brandon will also show you some pictures, it rolls everywhere. And our former manager used to say if we were going to have enough wireless towers to cover Calhoun County, it would look like a porcupine. And that's the truth. There's just no flat stretches, so that's what makes fiber and not wireless more important to us here. We've been doing this for a long time. We started back in 2014, and we applied for a grant called Rural Experiments. And we thought it was a long shot at the time, and it was. But it introduced us into how to do a grant, and it also made us jump through the hoops to be a telephone provider. And both of those things were things we knew we'd need to do in the future if we were going to be an internet provider, especially a fiber internet. And then second round of granting or funding became available called the CAV2 auction, and we also applied for that. We applied for it here in Calhoun, and we also applied for it in Pike County. We did not get the CAF2 money in Calhoun. We did get it in Pike, and that's a different grant process, and it was mostly wireless in Pike County, although we'll run a fiber backbone to the wireless system there. But anyway, we didn't get CAF2 in Calhoun, but we didn't want to give up. And so we heard about something called an E-rate, and the E-rate brings fiber or high-speed internet to schools and libraries. And we applied for that, or we didn't apply for it. We helped the schools in the process of applying for that. And they were able to get the E-rate, and then they got an additional grant to fund some of the gap that the E-rate didn't meet. And we were really excited in December of 2019 when we were able to light up the Calhoun School District. And the Brussels District is really close to being lit up. I aimed to ask Brandon that question as to how much longer it was going to be, but we're just this close. So we do have fiber that is going to Calhoun and Brussels schools. The product that we'll be bringing to Calhoun is fiber internet and also telephone. It ranges from 100 meg package up to a gigabit, and the pricing is contingent on the package that you take. There's also telephone that goes with that, or I see that you can do the telephone alone, but we hope that most people will want the internet and the telephone. Who can get it is anyone that lives in Calhoun. When that system comes past your house or into your neighborhood, whichever the case may be, if it's open to people that are co-op members, obviously, but also to people who are on Ameren and don't get their power from us. And the big question I've been getting is not only who can get it, but when can we get it? And the when is a complicated answer to that particular question. First of all, we have to have easements to bring the internet to your home. Secondly, we're looking for areas where lots of people sign up, and the higher your percentage or take rate, the quicker you're probably going to be able to get on. The third thing is that we have to follow the rules and regulations of the grants, whatever grants that we get. And going back to the grants, we are always looking for grants and ways to bring that money in and make it less costly to build out the fiber system. So we're constantly looking for grant money, and those grants have certain requirements that we have to meet, sometimes with regard to how quickly it has to be done, and sometimes with just regard to who has to be served. And the final thing is, and Brandon's going to show you a shot of this also, right off to my right is the road that goes to where the fiber main line is running. It's about a half a mile from where we sit right now. And if you are one of those lucky people that lives on the fiber main line, you are going to be one of the first people that can sign up for the internet. And once again, here I sit a half a mile away, so close but yet so far, because it's not running past my house right away. Now, the last thing, if you're living in Barry or you're in Perry or Winchester, why should you really care or be worried about what's going on in fiber in Calhoun? And the answer is this. We look around us here and our population is getting older, and we watch our kids graduate and go off to school, and they don't usually come back. Some do, and we love it when they can. We want that fiber because we hope that it keeps people in our territory. We hope it keeps the people we have living here, and we hope that it maybe brings some people back. And that's why we really need it. Now, the last picture I think Brandon's going to show you is a shot of the very southern part of Calhoun. It's actually literally where the blacktop ends. And only 21 miles from that picture is Lambert Airport. It's about 25 miles from the Big Bear campus in Chesterfield, where there are many, many jobs. There's talk that St. Louis is going to be the new tech corridor, and it's probably only about 20 miles or 21 miles from that. And if the fiber's here, people will be able to live here and as the pandemic has shown us, work in different places. And we hope that they'd have a home here. And that's good for everyone, because then that means that the cost that we have to keep over 3,000 miles of poles and wires up that fixed cost would be able to be shared by more people instead of fewer. And that's something that we think is really important as a board. So, come down to see us in Calhoun. As you probably know, it's been a couple of really tough years because last year we had the flood and it closed things down for most of the summer. This year we've got a pandemic. We didn't think we could top the flood, but we have. So come down, and I know our local businesses and our roadside stands and restaurants would love to have you, and I appreciate you listening this morning and hope you have a great summer.
I'd like to start by thanking you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to watch this informational video today. I think it shows your interest and concern in your electric cooperative, and we appreciate that very much. I'd also like to take the opportunity to thank our board of directors for allowing me the opportunity to serve as your general manager. It's truly an honor and a privilege to do that. I've worked for this co-op for a very long time, and I've had the opportunity to work in just about every facet of the business. But to serve as your general manager now is pretty special. It's a responsibility that I take very seriously, and I appreciate the opportunity. Anytime you start a new job or a new position, I think you have this vision for what you would like to do and what you would like to accomplish. And I had the vision going into this. Starting January 1st, things were going pretty much like I thought they would. Come March, the coronavirus struck. Not only changed your world, it changed my vision for my first 6 months. They haven't been at all what I expected. It's pretty much turned all of our worlds upside down. I know many of you have had to adapt to working from home. Your children had finished their education through online classes or virtual classrooms. Many of the products and services that you take for granted became unavailable. And the simple things of life, like going out for dinner, a family gathering, or going to church on Sunday mornings, became things we could no longer do. At your electric co-op, we're used to dealing with major events. In our history, we've dealt with ice storms, tornadoes, floods, a lot of different situations. We prepare for those. But no matter how much you prepare, sometimes there's events that are just unexpected or you're not prepared well enough for. And this pandemic is such an event. But fortunately, due to our constant planning, we have emergency action plans in place. We practice those on a regular basis. And although we didn't have a plan for a pandemic, because of our constant planning, we were able to switch smoothly from business as usual to a new protocol. A new protocol that caused us to close our office doors, which we didn't want to do. We had to send most of our office employees home to work remotely. We had to set up technology in their homes to allow them to do that. We had to change about everything we do operationally. We've had crews that now show up at alternate show-up sites. They work staggered schedules. We do everything possible to keep them from crossing over. Throughout this event, our primary concern has been your safety, and we want to do that while still maintaining the ability to provide the essential services that you need. Also, we had to protect our own employees to make sure they could keep the lights on and the internet working. And they've done a wonderful job of that, and I'm really proud of our employees. Speaking of those services that we provide for you, we of course are your electric provider, and we're also your internet service provider, many of you. We take the responsibility of providing you with good service very seriously. Over the past 12 years, we've invested over $70 million in the electric system in an effort to provide the best service possible. It's really had a dramatic effect. There's an index called SAIDI. It's the System Average Interruption Duration Index. It's the index by which electric utilities are measured in terms of reliability. Last year, Illinois Electric SAIDI index was the second best in the state of Illinois and far better than national averages. And we're very proud of that, and we'll continue to work hard and make the appropriate investments in the electric system to provide you with safe and reliable service. We're also making the same efforts on internet. We want all of our members to have internet access. The pandemic has made it even more apparent how important broadband service is to each and every one of you. So we work hard on that. Julia talked about our fiber project in Calhoun. It's an exciting project. It's going very well, and we look forward to being able to provide good fiber internet service to all of our members in Calhoun. But we also have a fixed wireless service that covers most of our service territory. Our goal is to provide you all with broadband service, whatever the appropriate technology is. The wireless service works very well in most of our service territory, but it is a direct line of sight. You have to have a direct line of sight to one of our towers. If we can't get a signal from your rooftop, we've been pretty creative in trying to get you signal. We'll set a tall pole to get up above the tree line if that's what we need to do, or even run a fiber optic extension down the road to an area with that we can get signal and get it back to you. We've pulled out all the stops in trying to get you service. But even with that, it's not perfect, and there's some areas that we just can't hit you with our wireless service. And Calhoun County is one of those areas. Although limited people can get it down there. If you're familiar with Calhoun County, you know there's a lot of trees, hills, and hollows. It just doesn't work well down there. So that's why we're making investments in fiber there, because it is the appropriate technology for that topography. And we're excited about it. We are providing the Hardin schools with fiber service right now, and we will be to the Brussels schools this fall. And as we build out and over the next few months, we'll be able to start hooking up some of you members at your homes. It's going to be a long process, and it's a slow process, and we still are working on getting easements to allow us to do that. But we're going to keep plugging away, and our goal is to be able to provide each and every one of you that wants service, the broadband service that you need. Now let me shift gears a little bit, and I'm going to talk about rates. Rates aren't much fun to talk about, and I can imagine you watching me now. When I mention rates, you probably think I'm going to talk rate increase. We mentioned the high cost of maintaining the system, that we've poured $70 million. We've invested $70 million in the system. Jim talked a little bit about the cost and what goes into rates. There is a lot of expense in maintaining an 80-year-old system. But there's other factors in there too. One of the biggest factors that we have no control over is that we only have 3.5 members for every mile of line we have. Now, if you lived in town, there would be over 30 paying customers to support that same mile of line, 10 times the revenue stream. It's a very difficult business model, and it drives rates. The high cost of maintenance plus low densities, it makes it very difficult to keep rates down. And if we maintain the system in a safe and reliable way, there are going to be rate increases. That's just part of it. We've worked hard to keep those rate increases as small as possible, but still, they come along just about every year. Starting early in the year, we do a rate study, and that's done to see if there's a need to recover additional revenue for the next year. And usually it comes back showing a modest increase, and usually your board votes to implement that around August of every year. Again, this year we did the rate study, and again it showed that there is a need for a rate increase. That troubles your board and myself, knowing the difficult times that we're going through right now and the financial burdens that some of you have. So they've decided that, actually they voted at the last board meeting to implement a moratorium on a rate increase through the end of this year. They did that in an effort to help you out to get through this difficult time. When the rate study shows that we need an increase, but we're not going to do it, we have to cut costs, and we will do that, and we are going to cut costs. It's difficult to cut that much to eliminate a rate increase totally. Wages are one of the components that go into rate design. And we have over 50 employees. Now, we pay our employees fairly. We don't overpay them. We don't underpay them. We actually keep them at the median level of all Illinois electric co-ops. We think that's only fair, and they think it's fair. But to forego a rate increase at this time means that we'd also have to forego a wage increase for our employees. Recently, I spent the better part of 2 days speaking with each and every one of our 50 employees in small groups. And I talked to them about the things that we're talking about here today. They're all aware of the situation a lot of you are in. And I'm happy to say that at the end of 2 days, there wasn't one employee that disagreed with our board's decision. So they're all on board with it. I've spoke a lot at member meetings about our employees, what a good group we've got, and how they always have the best interests of our membership at heart, and this shows that. So I really appreciate them being on board with this, and I hope you appreciate that too. Lastly, let me say that, again, we know some of you are having financial difficulties. Some of you may be having trouble paying your electric bill or your internet bill. And we understand that. We want to help. And I highly encourage you to give us a call. We can give you the contact information for energy assistance. There are funds available, and that's what they're there for. They're to help you. We also modified our deferred payment plan. We'll no longer charge you any down payment, and we will tailor a plan to fit your needs. We want to help you out, but you have to give us a call. So please, get a hold of us, and we'll work out a deal on that. I'll end with just thanking you once again for watching today. God bless, and we hope you all stay safe and healthy.